plays Hank Pryor, John Hawkes. Liz Danvers. She also coincidentally received the Critics' Choice Award this nomination, this morning. Please welcome Jodie Foster. And last but certainly not least, we have the writer, director, executive producer, showrunner. She probably also did craft services. Please welcome Issa López. Oh, you might.
I definitely don't. It has been a little bit of a while. I started when I was 3, and I don't know when I got my SAG card. Probably right around 5. Yeah. So 1968 or something. 6. Something like that.
You started at such a young age. I'm curious, was there ever a time, did you always know it was a career, or was there a time when you thought you might do something else?
Oh, I never thought I'd be an actor when I grew up, and my mom was quite clear about that. She would always say, like, so are you going to be a lawyer or a doctor? And I think at the time, the wisdom was that child actors never grow up to be real actors, and that it's a difficult path, and that you want to get them used to the disappointment that they won't have a career as they go on. So she would always say that my career would be over by the time I was 18. So when I went to college, I just expected that would be it. That would be the end of everything, and then I'd have to figure everything out. And then she told me that I would never work after 40. So somewhere before 40, I started getting very, very nervous again, and then, whatever, here I am, still here.
What's the next barrier to break? I'm trying to think.
What was that?
What's the next barrier to break? What other restrictions has she put on you?
I've heard that you don't act anymore after dead, but
Yes.
we have a guest now.
Yes, I can do that. I can do some phantom acting. I wouldn't mind being like the oldest grandma, junkie grandma out there. I really am enjoying doing the older actor thing and playing. There's something about the grittiness and the reality of it, and not having the pressure to I don't know, live up to some kind of weird celebrity status thing. So for me, it's been the happiest years of acting. It's been like in the last 10 years.
And for your work on this show, you actually received an Emmy Award. Which was your first.
Congratulations.
First nomination.
I took one for the team. We got 13 nominations, but I'm the only one that came home with, Issa has it in her house.
I was going to bring it for real. I really thought about it. The next, we got 19 nominations.
Oh, sorry.
And, but the Emmy went to her.
Yes.
And the next morning I was stupidly a little down because it's crazy. You have 19 nominations. You get to dress up. You see all these people you love. I should be dancing up and down. But I think she knows me at this point, and the next morning she showed up with the Emmy, and she was going to take a plane to go to France to shoot a movie, and she said, I need someone to take her to this.
Really?
And I was like, God.
All the time. I'm in the grocery store picking out bananas. They had Navarro. I'm like, what? I can't forget. I think it's her yelling at me. But it's been pretty interesting. I forget that I'm Navarro also, or I play Navarro. So it's been, people recognize me everywhere. I've had different hairstyles like this. I've had braids. I've been in different countries, and kids, moms, dads, everybody. I get recognized everywhere, and also I still get recognized for boxing in this now. So that was kind of cool.
That's so cool. John, we're just waiting for someone to give you a chance.
Is it the first series regular? I'm not sure.
Oh, really? At least in 20 years, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've just been waiting. I think the most exciting, well, certainly the best of narrative work right now is on streaming. And I've done a bit of directing on streaming, and I just couldn't wait to find out what that was going to be that I was drawn to. And it took me a long time to find it.
Really? So you had sort of been looking.
I guess I've been looking. It was a combination I couldn't afford to walk away from, which was this extraordinary script and that lady over there. The minute I met Issa, it was so clear that she was the vision of this project, and that she was going to take us on this extraordinary adventure. And I said yes immediately.
Did you
She promised me an Emmy.
Did you know Danvers' whole arc from the start, or did you sign on based on
Tell them what you did.
Yeah, it's bad. No, it's not that bad. No, I mean, I loved the script, and we had interesting conversations. My first caveat was that it was very important for me for the story to be told with Kaylee's character as the central character, and then to reimagine everything around that. And for me, Danvers, I just didn't feel like I was right for the Danvers that Issa had written, and she wrote a beautiful character. But I felt like I was too old to play that character, who was so fresh from this tragedy, and I thought that it better served Kaylee's character to be a bit more of a foe and to be more of have an opposite journey. So we reimagined it. Well, Issa reimagined it. I just sat around twiddling my fingers and waiting.
Wow. So how did the character sort of change?
Well, the character I had written was a decent human being, which did not pay. It was basically a human being trying to do the right thing in very adverse circumstances, and coming very fresh from a massive loss. And it was actually the same age. I think the age changed for a year or two, but pushing the loss to the past changes her, petrifies her heart and her spirit, and bitterness her. Though Jody was very clear, this woman should have started as an asshole before the tragedy.
Yeah.
So, when she said this, you hear so many times that sometimes the notes from actors can be difficult, but when she said this, instead of being like, fuck my life, instead of that, what happened is, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So I went back and I looked at it, and it would make everything better and more fun. And I did realize how necessary it is to have this big female TV anti-heroes in this, in the school of Johnny Soprano and Mr. White, and who's that female in a big, fat, juicy series. And this was an opportunity, so I jumped at it.
Wow, that's so cool. Kaylee, I was thinking it's so rare to find a character who's a strong female character, also happens to be Indigenous, and yet the show actually has several. And you're portraying a police officer of mixed race. What was your reaction when you read the role of Navarro and saw the complexity of this character?
Well, first I was really delighted to see that there was a character who was part of the community that was kind of looking at the community from the outside, but had to be forced to be inside, but also was a part of an authoritative type of position, which in the Indigenous community, we know that, the police or authoritative type of positions are, it's a mixed bag of emotions, and it runs really deep into just wearing a uniform. So when I first read it and I saw that she was part of the community, but she was also of mixed race, obviously I can immediately relate to that and the complexity of not being enough, but also wanting to do the right thing. She has a younger sister. There's so many layers to that, and I only knew, I thought I knew some of it, but she was so deep that it just, even while we were shooting, there were so many things that Issa wrote such a beautiful character that I was able to discover like in the moment, and things would click and make sense. So when I first read it, I'm like, there's so much I have no idea about this character. I can't wait to find out the dark, twisted shit that's in her mind. Because, and also in a soft way though, because Navarro she, as survival, she has to be who she is, but you see her shine through her vulnerability, and that's really her strength. So there was just, when I first read it, I was terrified. I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? But I was really, it terrified me into a place of excitement.
So, no, we didn't meet actually until we got to Iceland. But Issa showed me a tape of Kaylee, and I was, gung ho. I was Team Kaylee. Yeah.
I mean, when I found out that it was gonna be you, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be really hard. And I was like, yay! Oh, and the first thing you said to me was congratulations, and I'm so sorry. This is gonna be the hardest thing you've ever done. So it was great, but I was terrified. It's just a little package of just greatness.
Little Britches.
Little Britches, just detective name.
When you were like going out for the part, they didn't tell you it was Jody?
I found out that they landed her for the role of Danvers before I knew I got it. And so I was like, if I get this is gonna be, wow.
Yeah. What was it like the first time you met? Were you a little starstruck or?
A little starstruck. a little starstruck. I was the hella starstruck. Can we say that? Very starstruck, but just it wasn't even like, wow, there's Jodie Foster. Yeah, I had that, but it was just she's my homie. Like she's my partner. Like, and she just came in with just that smile and just wanted to work and find out how we could tell this amazing story. So it was yeah, of course. I was like, oh crap, but it was like, this is cool because we're all on the same kind of playing field. So it was like,
We got this nice opportunity to have a good amount of rehearsal time, which, you know, often with features you don't really get to do, but you have to on a limited series like this, especially since we didn't shoot in continuity. We shot it the same way we would a movie, just, you know, different locations at different times during the 6 episodes. So we really had to know everything backwards and forwards, and that was a fun experience. I mean, meeting Izzy, you came on the last, actually.
Oh, really?
Because it was tough finding your character and finding you.
I do remember being on the plane and feeling like, like I was the last one on the bus. And being like, what is it gonna be like when I get there? Are they all gonna be friends without me first? But yeah, that table read was so fun, and the work was so fun beforehand, and it was immediately, like Kaylee said, it was like, oh yeah, this is just like the loveliest group and good people.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were intimidated, because not only, you know, are you acting opposite Jodie Foster, you have to like really give her grief.
Yeah, it was very scary. When I auditioned, I didn't know too much. I didn't have a script. All I knew that I was auditioning for Jodie Foster's daughter, which like up until that point had like not really been my typecast. And so yeah, like going into it, I was like, wow, what is this gonna be like? What is it gonna feel like? And man, it was just a blast. And you know, I would have thought it would have been a lot scarier, but you were just so generous and lovely. It was a joy. Yeah.
You also get to play this character who is
My proudest
Big problem
achievement.
for me, because I am a cheesehead. But I got a little help. Yeah, I got a little help from Missy.
Yeah, it was the
Vikings
best.
fan.
I thought Issa was joking with me when I got to Iceland, and she's like, "Oh yeah, and she'll be a Vikings fan." I was like,
That
"Oh."
was Jodie's
I think
idea.
I was like wearing a Vikings hat, and I was like, "Oh, that's so funny," and yeah, it was so crazy.
Jody's also Minnesota, so we had a whole contingent that was very pleased there. So.
I'm still curious, like, you
That
know,
I do it. I am somebody who always wants to learn new things, and there are some characters, you know, people ask me what research I did for The Accused, and I, you know, while I was 24 or whatever, I just went out dancing a lot. That was pretty much what I did for that one. And then something like, you know, Silence of the Lambs or Contact, you know, obviously there's a lot of research that goes into it. You use what you need, you find what you need, and you don't bring in, at least in my case, I don't bring in extraneous busy work. I try to be very specific, and my whole goal is not to just tell the story of my character, but to tell the full story, so Issa's vision, and to just, you know, be able to add to her train. And in order to do that, I have to understand the whole story and to figure out which part I play, you know, which drum part I play, so that I'm not just always playing a solo. And in this case, the most important thing was that the native story be the central story, and that we're here to serve that. So for my part, it really was about, you know, allowing the audience to, you know, in some ways, like, I got to be the racist asshole that lives in all of us, you know, that sort of implicit bias that lives in all of us. And, you know, why is she so threatened by her daughter learning about her heritage? Because she believes that it will hurt her, and she worries about her, and that somehow her being in contact with her community means that she's in danger. And yeah, that's a jerky thing, but I have to find the humanity in that. One of my least favorite things is that we're lucky that we actually got to be there, even though we were in Iceland and we were in Alaska. And that we got to have so many people, so many indigenous people from so many places, right? So from Greenland, from Alaska, from Canada, all over the place. And seeing all of them come together, those actors come together, talking about the same foods, some of them knowing each other, some of them being related to each other, even though, that one might be from Greenland and one might be from Alaska. There was just something so thrilling about the reality of being in that place.
Well, I know that you're working on season 5 of True Detective.